Hello and welcome to Soul in Balance. My name's Alesha and I'll be bringing you a report on the full moon in Cancer. That'll be happening on the 23rd of December at 4:48 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Now this full moon is going to be super magical, absolutely healing and very super sensitive. So this full moon is going to be all about our re-emerging emotions and how we need to be relating to our emotions better, having a new relationship with our emotions and letting go of the old way we see emotions. And as Cancer represents the family and the mother, and it is Christmas time and coming to the holiday season, it is going to also trigger a whole heap of these old emotions as well. So stay tuned and I'll bring you the report. Okay, full moon in Cancer. So get your tissues ready. No. So at this full moon, the full moon will be at 0 degrees of Cancer. And like all full moons, it's opposite the sun. And the sun is at 0 degrees of Capricorn. And this full moon is going to be quite intense and a very strong full moon, as the moon is ruled by Cancer. So the moon is in its home sign of Cancer. And we also have the collective soul direction, which is the North Node, also in Cancer. And this degree, as it's the very beginning degree, it also represents change. And as we do have the solstice, so if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the winter solstice. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the summer solstice. So it is going to be quite an intense full moon, and it is all about our past feelings, as Cancer represents the past. And we could be, feeling old patterns of emotions come up, old issues that have come up, and we're all kind of maybe wondering why we're kind of feeling these old emotions. And it's because we need to be reconnecting to them in some way and understanding that they're all valid. All our emotions are valid, or every single one of them, whether negative or positive. And we need to understand that they're all valid because we came here to feel every emotion. We didn't come to this planet just to feel one emotion and just feel happiness. We came here to feel sadness. We came here to feel anger, betrayal, hurt, loss. We came here to feel a plethora of emotions so we can have a human experience. And, in our societies, we're just told to fit into a box, be normal, don't have your feelings, soldier on. And that's not helping anyone. Look at our global, situations. Look at, the homeless and drug addicts and, any kind of addiction, which is all stemming from not being able to have your feelings, having to, run away and, as they're not valid. So it's really important that we start to value our feelings. They're our indicator of who we are, like what works for us, what doesn't work for us. And if we shut them out, we're shutting out a massive aspect of who we are, and we're stopping ourselves from being happy. And that's the thing too, like if you're not accepting a part of yourself because you think it's negative, then you're not living a fulfilled life. You're not accepting yourself in its entirety. So it's really important that this full moon, as it is about accepting our emotions and accepting who we are and being our own self-reliance, we need to accept those emotions. And that's the thing, like we do live, in the law of attraction. So if we're accepting our emotions, if we're supporting ourselves and accepting who we are, then other people will do that because it's a reflection of our internal dynamics. So it's, really important that you do start to accept yourself in its entirety, because our emotions will tell you, who's not good for you and who you shouldn't be hanging around with, what job isn't working for you, what food isn't good for you. Our little, sensitivities and, our emotions are a massive indicator of what's working and what's not. And the more we can connect to our feelings, the more we can understand them and be able to read them and get the message, the happier we will be, the more we'll be on our course to happiness and fulfillment. So if we look at the polarity point of Cancer, which is the sun in Capricorn, how I am seeing this is how can we relate to our emotions? How can we connect to our emotions, whether good or bad, and how can we implement them into our structures in life? How can, we move forward in our emotions, accepting who we are completely? And as the North Node is there, which is representing coming home to our own self-nurturing, understanding our emotions and making them valid, and with this full moon here, it's really highlighting this theme of self-nurturing, self-acceptance, especially in the area of our emotions. So at this time, if you can move forward and understand how valuable your emotions are, it'll make such a difference moving forward for this next month, especially in the upcoming year, because the North Node in Cancer will be in Cancer for roughly the next year, and it's all going to be this theme. So this is kind of getting the ball rolling in a sense. So I'm going to read the Sabian symbol for this degree. And as always, we go to the following degree, which will be 1 degree of Cancer. So I'll read what it means. So we've got, on a ship, the sailors lower the old flag and raise a new one. Keynote, a radical change of alliance exercised in the symbol act, a point of no return. So we're kind of highlighting a point of no return in our old ways of relating, our old ways of feeling things, and we're moving in a direction of more self-understanding, more self-reliance, and it can be radical change across the board. As we've seen, over this last year, there's been so much change everywhere, and as it is the solstice as well, which is also highlighting the change of season, and that's another issue, another thing as well, is that we're kind of, moving in a new direction, new ideas. And as we've gone through Sagittarius, which is all about expanding our new ideas and making that change. So we are really moving forward in those, ideas and changes that we've been experiencing and, dreaming about these last, months or so. So at this full moon, we also have Mars and Chiron adding to the whole theme of our past emotions coming to the surface. So Mars is like the warrior. It digs into things. It wants to be the hero and find out what's going on. And in Pisces, it's kind of more got a spiritual element to it. And it can also be a little bit of delusionment as well. But it's making aspects out to Chiron. And Chiron is our collective soul wound. So it's where we're all wounded as a collective coming onto this planet, and that is also in Pisces. So Mars the warrior is also going to be meeting up with Chiron, our collective soul wound, and it's going to be making aspects out to this Cancer full moon, which is making a square, and it's also squaring out to the sun that's in Capricorn. Now if we look at the sun in Capricorn, that can be our structures, it can be our karma, it's past lives. And if we look at also the aspect going out to Cancer, which is our emotions, which is our past, which is our families. So like I said just before, we are kind of dealing with old trauma coming up, old emotional patterning coming up, and with all these aspects working together, it's even representing past lives of trauma, past lives of emotional patterning. So what we're healing and clearing right now is lifetimes of not dealing with our emotions, lifetimes of pushing our emotions away, or also lifetimes of trauma coming through that we can actually start healing and evolving from. And not to mention, like I've said, I think every single video the last few months, is that we are healing our bloodlines of trauma, our bloodlines of our patterning of disease and illness and all those types of things, not being nurtured by the mother. So So, you know, at this time, you know, there is a lot going on, and it is all correlating to past lives, past karma, what emotions are coming up, everything kind of relating around the family and what's going on. So if you are, you know, being triggered by, you know, situations that are happening, if you have just been recently going over some past trauma that's happened in the family, it's quite normal at this time. There is a lot of that being brought up, so you can evolve and change that. And just like the Sabian symbol that I read as well, which indicates, you know, it's a point of no return. You know, we're not going back to that anymore. We're going forward. You know, you are the change in your family. Like, you know, whatever's happened with you ends with you now. And it's up to you to then start to evolve that and then change that and, you know, implement that into your life somehow, so then your children, you know, don't experience the same. And from what I understand on a soul level, what our parents don't heal, or what parents don't heal, they pass on to the children to heal. And if the children don't heal it, then it just goes on and goes on and goes on. So what is it that you need to be healing that you actually don't want to pass on to your children? What is it that really needs your attention, that really needs processing at this time? So a little side note to add to the Mars aspects that's making aspects out to this full moon and all our emotions is it's making a sextile out to Pluto. And Pluto is the planet of radical transformation, death, ending, rebirth, you know, new ways of being. And as it's making a sextile, it is a form of ease. So you'll probably find, if you are doing the work, if you are really doing your best to understand, to evolve, to connect to yourself, you will have, you know, an ease of transformation here. With Pluto being there and, you know, it being an easy aspect, it can mean that this transformation will come easy if you understand and put in the work. So at this time, you know, don't just think, you know, that it's so much hard work and you can't do it, there's no help. You have lots of help. There's so much help and so many aspects guiding you. And I feel like once you get it, once you understand, the transformation kind of just flows with ease, you know. Like once you start supporting yourself and start loving yourself and being there for yourself and nurturing yourself and 100% supporting who you really are, transformation just happens, and it's so easy, and you never look back. Like it's just like, how the hell was I existing and living that old way that I used to? So yes, at this time, keep in mind that there is some support there to, you know, make that transformation happen. So I thought I'd do a card for this full moon and what we should kind of be working on. What emotions, you know, can we focus on? What an area of life maybe do we need a little bit of help with, or something like that, you know what I mean? So if this resonates with you, then that's pretty good. Hang on. Okay, I've got internal love, happiness, harmony, and fulfillment. Yeah, I think that relates to our own internal love of ourselves and how we are connecting to ourselves, how we're appreciating ourselves, how we're, you know, understanding ourselves and loving every single aspect of who we are. That creates happiness and fulfillment. So again, I think at this time it reinforces this whole, you know what I mean, this whole aspect of our own internal love for who we are and our emotions especially. So yes, at this time, love those emotions. So moving on to Venus, the goddess of love. Now she is out of her shadow phase and moving forward through Scorpio. So at this full moon, she will be making a sextile or a wide sextile out to Pluto and also Saturn, and also a trine out to Neptune that's in Pisces. Now we've had Venus go through and see what's not real, see what's fake, see what she doesn't need anymore. She's had, you know, what's, you know, not serving her just disappear, and, you know, there's been a lot of trauma, there's been a lot of transformation, but now she's moving forward, and she's moving forward in strength in what she wants. And this is making aspects out to Neptune, and this can be soul contracts, soulmates coming through, twin flame connections coming through. But there's also the danger of it being an illusion, because if we look at Venus is love on a human level, and then Neptune is like a spirit love. It's like unconditional love. And sometimes when these two are making aspects out to each other, it can just be fantasy love, like something that doesn't really initiate. So it's important that we are still focusing on what's real at this time, still kind of, looking at it from a human and real perspective from Scorpio. Is it deep? Is it real? Does it make me happy? And, moving forward from that, don't get too lost in fantasies. Make sure, it's real and it's serving you. And then then Venus is also making aspects out to Saturn and Pluto. So again, is it, can it be structured? Can it be real? And then with Pluto there, transforming our old love nature, transforming and moving forward into what really is for us, not our conditioned way of love that we've been, for lifetimes or generations, or, even on this life, how we've known love to be. So yes, at this time, we're really still getting the lessons of our love nature, but I feel like it's really rolling forward, and, we're really connecting to what we need in a sense of love, and especially our passions, like, because Venus represents our passions and our creativity. Like, I know myself, I've been so creative and, really into my passions and, moving forward. So, I can see that playing out with everyone else, even my own housemates and, people that I work with. Everyone's really connecting to their passions and their creativity. So it's not just love, but then keep in mind too, like, that it's not just a fantasy, it's not just a dream. Make sure it's something that's coming into form. And that's the thing too, like with the sun that's been going through Sagittarius, and also with Jupiter there, now that it's in Capricorn, we can actually start to create these things. So don't just keep your passions and your desires and what you want in your love life or anything like that. Make sure it's real. Make sure you're bringing it into form now, so it starts to build and be what you need. So at this full moon, we still have Uranus that has been squaring the nodes, which has been causing some disruption and tension and aggravation for change for the nodal direction. And, this is still, this has been playing out for a while now. Uranus has been squaring the nodes for, even in Leo. So it has been a lot of disruption and new ideas and revelations for some time. But I feel like we're starting to, now put in motion and move forward into, what needs to change and what we understand. And especially as we've had Uranus trining out to the sun these last few days, that has been absolutely amazing, as into, changing our direction and, putting those, what we're desiring and what we want into motion, as well as our, the sun is our direction, and in Sagittarius, which is expansion and, looking to the horizon and what we want. So, that change and that radical, event happening with Uranus will then push that change and make it a reality as it then slips into Capricorn. So at this time there are a lot of aspects really pushing change, and there's a lot of aspects that are really pushing us to go internal and feel what we need to feel and heal what we need to heal and release it and make change that way as well. So yes, Uranus adding to the mix of all this change is, kind of relieving in a way, and, adding to the workload as well. Alrighty, so let's wrap this video up. So like all full moons, I think it's really important, especially with the full moon in Cancer, as the moon is at home in Cancer, the north node's in Cancer. At this full moon, it's really a good full moon to be really connecting to ourselves, coming into our own space. Maybe, if you're in a relationship, maybe asking your partner if you can have your own space or have your own time, or, you know, find a room where you can sit quietly or just be with yourself, you know, have a bath, go to the ocean, you know, go out and sit with the full moon. It's a really great time to connect to yourself. And, you know, a lot of people just push it aside and think, you know, it's not really important right now. I've got this going on, I've got this going on, and, you know, I can't find time for it. But what we're really needing to be doing is to find time for it. Because you need to do that. You need to connect to yourself. It's just like meditation. Do you know what I mean? Once you find time to do it, it's amazing. Like even myself, I've been doing like Qigong every morning, and then, you know, one day I just decide I'm not going to do it because I don't have time, and then it goes to another day and another day and another day, and you think, I don't need it, I'll be fine. But then when you do it again, it's like, what the hell? Why did I stop doing this? Why did I let, you know, a few days pass and, you know, not feel as good, not connecting to my body? So I suggest, you know, you do the same at this full moon and really connect to yourself, you know, invest time into you. And like if you're a parent or you have children, or, you know, depending on what your workload is and whatnot, you know, I know it's hard to find time to do those things, but you know what I mean? Like the full moon, the effects of the full moon last 5 days. So that's 5 days that you can sit there and find time to connect to yourself. And it's a really great time to even, you know, journal down some of the feelings or dreams that are coming up for you. So is it because it is such a magical time with all these aspects, you know, these water signs and, you know, all the connections that are going through, you know, like journal down some of your thoughts, you know, even if they seem crazy, even it's, you know, old feelings that you felt when you were 17 or 12 years old, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, if you're thinking about it, write it down. Or if you dream about something that seems a little off or a little bit strange, write that down too, and then reflect on it as time goes by. So yes, at this full moon, it's really important that we do connect to ourselves. And God, I think I've said it like 100 times this video. But yes, so that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful as well. That's what I want to be in this world, helpful. But yes, so if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, or if you think it could help someone, please also share it. I do astrology birth chart readings. I do synastry readings for you and a partner. So if you're needing some guidance in your life, or you've got some stuff going on and you'd really like a little bit more understanding, or, you know, how does that relate to a past life situation, to a current life situation, and all the rest, you know, please shoot me an email on the information below, or at the end of the video. Other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic full moon in Cancer and many soul journey blessings.